Now, we've got breaking news out of the Middle East this morning, where families of Australian diplomats and officials have been given the option to leave the region amid fears of pending US strikes on Iran. It is a dramatic development, with the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade using its social media channels to announce the offer from posts in Israel, Lebanon, Jordan, Qatar and the UAE. DFAT has also warned that all Australian citizens in Israel and Lebanon should consider leaving now, while commercial flights are still available.
It's all against this backdrop of the US President's escalation in his threats against Iran in yesterday's State of the Union address. We've got our DC Bureau monitoring developments in America and our Parliament House Bureau keeping a close eye back home. First to Sarah Tomevska in Canberra. Sarah, good morning. What's the government saying at the moment?
Well, Bridget, as you say, this is an offer really to diplomats, their families and consular staff in those missions in Israel, Lebanon, Jordan, Qatar and the UAE. So the embassies, Australia's embassies in Tel Aviv and Beirut will remain open, but the general advice to Australians is reconsider your need to travel to the region. This is not an offer of emergency repatriation flights for Australian citizens in the region, and Australians in both Israel and Lebanon are being urged to book flights home while they still can, while commercial flights are available, because if the situation escalates, we are likely to see airspace closures and flight cancellations, which was the case, of course, last June when the US bombed Iran's nuclear facilities. Now, in terms of Australians stuck in Iran, the smart traveller advice remains do not travel, with the government urging Australians in Iran to leave as soon as possible. Of course, that's really difficult amid the current circumstances. We saw last June when those US strikes were occurring on Iran's nuclear facilities. More than 3,000 Australians registered with the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade that they wanted assistance to leave. But because Australia's embassy in Tehran has closed, that will be very difficult. Last year, we did see consulate staff posted at the land border with Azerbaijan, and basically Australians were told, if you can make it to the border, we'll help you get across. But yeah, very dynamic and unpredictable situation for Australians in the region.
Absolutely. Emily Grimenz in our Washington Bureau. What has Donald Trump had to say?
Well, last night he said essentially what he's been saying for some weeks now, which is a vague threat. He says that he wants to solve this issue with Iran through diplomacy, and there are more talks between US and Iranian officials tomorrow over Iran's nuclear program. But Donald Trump again said that Iran cannot be allowed to acquire a nuclear weapon. He said that he wanted to hear them say those sacred words. Now, Donald Trump has provided varying timelines for a deal to be reached with Iran, but this is all underscored by the massive build-up of military assets in the Middle East. Donald Trump has also, of course, provided timelines before, and he doesn't always stick to them. I don't think anyone seriously believed that he would use the State of the Union speech last night to outline his plans on Iran. In fact, it was a very small part of the speech. He really brushed over it. He was under a lot of pressure to keep that speech focused on domestic issues. So far, he's also shown very little desire to really sell the American public on a rationale for further military action on Iran. And he also hasn't shown a lot of desire to seek congressional approval or congressional backing for any further strikes. He doesn't want to telegraph military moves and give Iran any forewarning. He often says that. Why would I tell you what I'm going to do, when he's asked questions along these lines? But certainly there is one massive question and a lot of unease about just why the US has built up so many military assets in the Middle East and what the president might be leading towards.